Are we going to try to end an hour from now, or
No, it's 6.
Okay, cool.
Where do you need me? What do you want me to do?
You're going to be right.
Okay.
Is that working?
Wrong one.
Is it going to grab whoever's performing from here, or should we set it sort of more central?
Oh, why do you have
Me and my damn logic.
There, all right? Everyone happy? Is everybody happy now?
Are you ever really happy?
I've done no research. I don't know anyone's names, so I'm a narcissist. Deal with it.
And on that note, do you want to start?
Yes, let's do it.
This is going to be fantastic.
So everybody silence your cell phones if you'd like to.
I mean, I know you.
I'm vaguely aware of
you. Hear the
you.
music we're starting, so.
That should be the theme of the podcast. I'm vaguely aware of you. That's the name of this podcast. I'm vaguely.
I heard of this person somewhere.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the FlappCast. Try to pretend like you want to be here.
I'm so excited.
There we go. Where we find out what goes on behind the funny. I am your co-host, Joshua Snyder. Your host, Barbara Holiday, could not be here today, but she will be here next week, and probably the week after, and maybe not the week after, and maybe the week after that, but we'll see. And here with me is our special guest, Ken Pringle, who is a great comedian and the dean of Flappers University.
Yay, and the fatter, less female version of Barbara Holiday. So
The fatter, less female version of Barbara Holiday, right here, ladies and gentlemen, Ken Pringle. Very nice. There, Ken Pringle, always throwing me off with his iWatch. No, because what'll happen if I'll be on stage and I'll see you in the back watching, and then you check your iWatch, which already fucked me up because that's how interesting I am. But
I like to assume it's just because I'm saying I'm richer than you. I'm not, but I like to project that image.
But then I keep thinking I'm getting lit because it's so powerful that's very interesting.
That could be their new motto. Just Apple ruining comedy shows since 2016.
Yes, Apple. Very powerful, Apple. I think Tim Cook, if he wanted to, could save the world. I really believe that.
Entirely possible.
Yes.
I just don't think he wants to.
No. Well, I mean, I think he wants to save parts of the world.
The parts that he's living on, perhaps.
Yes, his general area, and that kind of thing. I don't know where this is going. We need to focus. So I always like to start out the show lately with just kind of talking about what's going on at the club, what's coming up soon, what's happening. So we have Malik S. From Showtime. He's going to be headlining in the main room on Friday and Saturday.
Funny cat, like
yes,
him.
A very funny cat. He's actually a human, but we're using the term cat. And kind of
That was my one attempt to be cool. Could you give me 5 seconds of feeling like I'm somehow able to relate to the better echelon of people?
No. And in Claremont, we have Jose Barrientos, professional Mexican.
Professional Mexican.
Professional.
Took a long time, a lot of work, got his Mexican credentials.
Correct.
And he is now professionally Mexican.
Many people, they're amateur Mexicans. And it's kind of, something they do on their off hours.
Yeah, you'd think that it's something you're born into, but no, there's a certifying authority.
That's right. The National Association of Mexican People.
I want to see how far you can take this.
The NAMP.
NAMP.
Not to be confused with NAMBLA. That's a different podcast.
They are certifying people for a very different task.
Yes, yes, indeed. I'm surprised they don't have a candidate in the race. I really just the way things are going. All right, so
let enough mug get slung. We'll find out they do have a candidate in the race.
Yeah, true. Right, and so that's what's going on in Claremont. And then next week is a very special show. Drew Lynch, who got his start right here at Flappers, is taping his special, Did I Stutter? It's a 1-hour special. His first hour special he's taping live Thursday, Friday, Saturday, July 7th, 8th, and 9th. We're inviting everyone to come out because he got his start here. This is his home. This is his home base.
He's our boy.
This is in many ways his Tatooine.
It is. It is. We're like the twin sons watching over him, yet influencing his life in no way whatsoever.
That's about it. That's about it. You know, he built a droid, and coincidentally turned to the dark side. No, he's not trying.
Ed would actually play the music, but then we'd have to pay for it. So
Exactly, right.
we're just using humming instead. Thank you, Ed.
So that's what's happening there with that. And he is... What is he doing? Yes, doing his headlining shows Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, July 7th, 8th, and 9th. Very, very cool. And we're rigging everything with his new lights that are up.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's going to be really big. I can't wait to see it.
And the first of many specials that we'll be taping here. So we're very excited for that. And also, of course, our Burbank Comedy Festival coming up August 14th through the 20th with major podcasters. Tom Segura doing Your Mom's House podcast live. Jimmy Pardo doing Never Not Funny live. Jimmy Dore doing his show live. And Christopher Titus also doing his show live. And Justin Foster doing his show live.
You're basically telling people to come see others do this better than you.
Correct. Live.
Live.
Correct. Much better. That's right. That was mean.
Not incorrect, but mean.
True. True. Very true. I don't know. I think this show has moments. There have been moments on this show. Now they're laughing.
The difference is they've figured out how to take enough moments and string them together to make an episode.
God, wow. Where is this coming from? Do you listen to the podcast and know what we're talking about? No, you don't. You know who listens to the podcast? 12 people in China. That's who, according to Vincent.
Big comedy fans.
Yes, huge comedy fans in China, those 12 people. I bet you 2 of them are pandas. That's wrong. I bet you 2 of them know pandas or have seen one.
Wow. Way to bring in the completely unrelated racial stereotypes. Good job.
What's wrong with pandas?
Aren't we supposed to wait until we have other comedians on the stage before this goes off the rails?
Wow. I get no respect. And happy birthday to Mel Brooks, by the way. It's 90.
Oh, yeah, today.
Yes, 90
That's so
years
cool.
Old. 90 years old. And our receptionist, Naomi, I said, it's Mel Brooks' birthday. She said, who's Mel Brooks? And I had a heart attack.
Wow.
Yeah. Make fun of her when you go back up there. Make a point.
That's horrifying.
Who's Mel Brooks? Can you believe that? Can you believe it?
May the Schwartz be with you.
Thank you. Man, I can't. It boils my blood. Yes, it does. But
It's amazing to think that he's 93 now.
He's
Did you say 90? 90? That's shocking. That's incredibly that's way up there.
Yeah, that is. That is.
How's the guy who made Life Stinks enjoyed so much life?
It's good to be the king. I think
It is.
The operative answer right there. Okay, so those are the things going on. Burbank Comedy Festival. Mention all the big things, and then Ken, of course, our dean of Flappers University. What's new in the Flappers University?
Tons. We've got a bunch of new classes coming up, as always. A lot of new classes. We've got a improv for kids is starting up here in about a week and a half. We've got a new writing for late night class that's starting up here in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
That's taught by Gabe Abelson, one of the former head writer for David Letterman.
Right.
So it's kind of awesome.
Very
Get to find out how to write late night jokes and do desk pieces and remotes and all that stuff. We've got a new workshop that's coming up. First time we've ever done this one. On July 23rd, we'll be doing How to Get an Agent with Gina Kirkland, great college agent, about how to go out and get representation, how to, find somebody to help push your career to the next level, what to look for, what's a good agent, what's a bad agent, what to expect, how to actually present yourself once you get that meeting, once you're in the room. What is that agent going to ask you? What are the proper answers? What can you bring to the table for that kind of thing? And then really the Burbank Comedy Festival is the big one. We're full steam ahead on that right now. We haven't announced the full class list yet, but it is going to be insane. It is going to be the biggest class list we've ever done for the festival. An amazing opportunity for people who want to come out and learn about their comedy career in all sorts of different ways. Without going into the specifics of the classes, if you've ever wanted to learn how to advance your set, how to put together your press kit, how to get booked on the road, how to get an agent, how to write for sitcoms or television or a comedy film or break into the college market or work as a warm-up comic for the studios. All of that will be happening that week. So just an amazing opportunity to learn about pretty much any aspect of a comedy career you've ever wanted to know.
Very cool. All right, excellent. Good. There's a lot going on here at Flappers University. We're learning as a joke.
Just not on this stage right now.
Why is...
But the rest of the week.
Jeez. What is... There's a lot of animosity here. Wow. Wow. Do we need to talk about this? Do we need to have a... Do we need to have a clearing?
Are you used to doing that without the therapist?
Wow. You see this? Just every single time. Just knocking me down.
I'll listen to your problems. I'm just saying I'm going to charge you $100 an hour to do it.
No, I feel like you're the one with the problem. You know.
I'm quite happy with my level of animosity. I have made peace with it. I let it carry me through the day.
Well, all right. I don't know. I can't argue with that. I really can't.
So, speaking of animosity, do you know that right now you could own Batman vs. Superman?
That's so bad. Oh.
Why we were...
Okay, you know what? I've changed my mind. Go ahead and get the therapist now.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to need that.
When it comes out on DVD with
You know-
deleted
I was
scenes...
on my
it'd be
Xbox
more-
and
I'm-
they just said, oh, own it today. And I was just like,
Yeah,
why?
it just came out, and worse. I'm so like self-abusive that even though I saw that coming out and I was like, oh, who's gonna purchase that? I also saw that they did one night at the movie theater of the extended director's cut, like one time only, and I swear the first thought that went through my head was, I'm teaching a class that night. Oh, why can't I go and spend $20 to be abused again?
Wow.
For longer this time.
And we get to see even more scenes where Bruce Wayne is looking out of a window depressed.
Yes.
That's... His performance was amazing. He's staring out a window. Wow. I don't get that film. I don't get it. But I'm sure the Justice League will be less bad. All right, it's time to...
Isn't that what we said about this one last time?
Yes, it is, Ken. Yes.
Suicide Squad will be amazing.
I have high hopes.
Exactly.
High hopes.
Let's transition on that up note.
We'll see. Probably not as good as Guardians of the Galaxy, though. All right, good. Wow. This, if we're not careful, this could be another podcast. Right there.
Well, see, you're taking us into that whole DC Marvel rivalry thing, and I'm a diehard DC fanboy. Much as I love the Marvel films, you tell me, oh, this Marvel thing is better, and my first instinct is to unleash my claws, which is weird because that's a Marvel thing. It hurts me.
No one in DC has claws.
No one in
claws.
No.
Really?
Well, I mean, if you really got into like the D list, I'm sure we could find somebody, but
Right.
it's not like they're not. It's not the Shink kind of claws.
I
It's
was
not,
about to say Vega from Street Fighter, but I guess that's not DC.
that is not DC.
Man Bat.
Well, Man-Bat technically has claws when he's in the Man-Bat form, but are they really claws, or is it more just that it's protrusions from the finger? I don't know if it really qualifies as claws.
Right, they're not retractable.
They're not. Well, they're not retract. You don't have the retractable
No.
claws. Definitely, I
Gotta
can't
be
think of
right.
anyone with that.
Yeah, okay.
It's gonna hit me like in 20 minutes. We're gonna be in the middle of like Punch It Up, and I'm gonna be like, "Oh, this character." They're like, "I don't know how that relates to a joke about my mom. Just go with it."
All right, so I don't have the sheet in front of me. I'm ill-prepared. I've seen both of you before, but I don't know your names, so...
You are his favorite comedians, by the way.
Yes.
Absolutely.
My name is Jessie Stegner. Is that... Okay.
This is what we do on the podcast now. We bring up random people from the audience and have them tell
All right,
jokes.
so wait. So Jessie... Okay, good. So now I've got your name. Like I said, I had the sheet printed upstairs, and I forgot it when I came downstairs.
Tell me again how professional you are at this.
You know what, Ken? God damn it. Go watch Batman vs. Superman.
Oh,
Don't do it.
that's
Don't do
abuse,
it.
man. That's hurtful. That's hitting below the belt.
All right,
This utility belt.
Our first comedian coming to the stage. Please keep it going for Jessie Stegner.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, thank you very much. I don't really know who to direct these sweet, sweet bits to. I'm in a really good mood. I just got a call from one of my really good friends. The barista at the local coffee place, gave her a free scone with her order this morning, and she has a huge crush on him. And I told her, you know what that means. He thinks you're homeless. My boyfriend and I actually just celebrated our 1-year anniversary. Thank you very much. You know, when my single friends ask me for advice, I tell them, you just got to keep kissing frogs until that special day when you're ready to settle for one. I am in a really, really healthy, really wonderful relationship now, but that did not always used to be the case. I dated a lot of duds before that. I got dumped on Christmas Eve once. That's not a joke. This just felt like a really safe space. Thank you. I have a lot of ex-boyfriends in the city of Los Angeles, so much so that I'm very scared of running into one of them. It's like anytime I walk into a bar, I feel like I might be walking right onto a landmine, or if it's one of my exes, it's more like a landfill. But anyway, there was this one party that I knew one of my exes was going to be at. So I did it up. You know what I mean? I got a haircut, I got a new outfit, I ate nothing but juice for 3 days. I shit apples for a week after that, but I looked about the same as I usually look. I'm a runner because I hate myself. And when I can run 7 or 8 miles on a good day, so when I get done, I need to eat right away or I get really weak. I just turn into a baby. I can't talk, I can't read, I shit my pants. I'm just kidding, I can read. So on this particular day, I had no food in my house, so I needed to go to the grocery store to get something, and I needed it fast or I was going to pass out. I was going to die. And passing out and dying isn't the same thing, but you get it. I go to the Albertsons, and I go to that ready-made deli counter, and I really want some chicken tenders, real bad. And I get up to the counter, and this guy cuts in front of me and takes my place in line. So now I'm starting to lose it. And I notice, as he's up there ordering, he's ordering the rest of the chicken tenders that are in the counter. Yeah. So now I'm pissed. And I'm so weak and I'm so tired that all I can think is this man has basically done an injustice to me. And I need to say something because this is America. And so I approach this total stranger and I just say, I have mouths to feed at home. Which, couple things wrong with that. Number one, not true. Don't have kids at home, I'm lying. Number two, I'm in an Albertsons. So if I can't get this food, I can just get this other food. So as this interaction is happening, and by interaction mean I'm speaking to a stranger and he's walking away, the employee has gone in the back and returned to refill the plate of chicken tenders that are in the counter. So now I have to order however many chicken tenders I think will feed the aforementioned children that I have at home. So I order 2 boxes, and I go home, and I eat them all. Because I am an adult. Thank you very much, guys. I'm Jessie Stegner.
Jessie Stegner, all right. So you're going to hold on to the mic, and you're going to come sit on the couch.
All right.
We're going to do the interview portion of the show now.
Okay.
So Jessie, how long have you been doing stand-up?
How long have I been doing? Oh my gosh, this is uneven. Watch out for that. I've been doing stand-up for about 6 or 7 months, but I moved here from Chicago where I did improv for about 7 years.
Oh, okay, very cool. Second City?
Yeah, I took classes at Second City, yeah.
Gotcha.
I worked at Comedy Sports Chicago.
Oh, cool. Very
Mhm.
nice.
Mhm.
What did you do there?
I was a coach and a teacher
Oh.
and a performer. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
And now you're out here?
and now here I am.
Gotcha. And are you out here to, do the LA thing?
What is the LA thing?
I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
I guess
If it's fun, then yeah.
be famous,
Yeah.
get famous enough to do cocaine off of things.
Ooh, I don't
guess?
think I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
But I am here for comedy, yeah.
Okay. Got
Mhm.
it. Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Any thoughts, Ken?
Cool. No, please continue.
Oh, all right.
By all means.
I mean, I can tell from the years of doing the improv, the stage presence is all there,
Thank
and you have got a lot of confidence.
Thanks.
And you were very prepared. The only 2 thoughts I had was that I felt like the first few jokes in the beginning
Mhm.
were stylistically and rhythmically very similar.
Okay.
It was just that it was like the same kind of turn
Yeah.
in the first jokes over and over, and I felt like that it was too much of the sameness, which I think was taking away from the second or third jokes. And then when you got into the bit about the Albertsons, I connected back in.
Yeah.
and I also felt you were kind of more connected to that than some of the early jokes too. But that would be my So my one thought is just make sure that you're not getting into too much of the same rhythm, if that makes sense, or too much repetition. That's number one, and then number two. Actually, this is number three now, isn't it? Number three.
That's okay.
Would be, and I think you're touching on it, but I want a more clear idea of exactly who you are, kind of established at the beginning. And what do I mean by who you are? Well, I need to know where you're coming from. It's the point of view thing that everybody talks about.
Yeah.
And you're kind of going, I feel like you're kind of circling around it, but I need it specified as to what that is.
Yeah.
Are you the are you the depressed nerd? Are you the what are you exactly?
Yeah.
And actually, let me ask you, what are you?
I think I'm still trying to figure that out. I think that's part of the reason why it's not quite there yet.
Gotcha.
Because I know it's one of those things where there are jokes that I write that I know I can't do because they aren't my point of view. So I'm getting to the point where it's like, I know I'm not that person, or I know I'm not this person, but I don't think I know exactly who you know what I mean? I there are things I know I'm not. So that's, I think, the right start. But yeah, I think it's still forming in my brain as far as that goes.
That's pretty normal. I mean, it takes a long time to find your voice in stand-up comedy. It's not something that can be applied synthetically. It comes organically over time, over doing hundreds of shows. Right. Let me ask you a couple of questions here. First off, the very first joke that you did in this set, when you were putting this set together, why did you choose that joke?
That's a good question. It's the joke that's consistently been the most successful. So let me rephrase. The running story, or the Albertson story, is definitely the thing that hits the hardest, which is why I save it for the end.
Sure.
It's something that I'm the most comfortable with, and I think it's I'm the most connected to, as you said. And then the rest of my material, I feel like I'm still feeling out what is strongest and what is not, and that joke always seems to hit.
Okay.
I think because it's a misdirect and it's just unexpected, so that's usually why I start with it.
Okay, a couple of thoughts on that. First off, not that your material was bad, because it's very funny. You had some very funny stuff there. When you're doing a showcase set in LA, whether it's for this, for auditioning for a club, anything like that, something I always tell my students is it's not just about what your funniest jokes are. Obviously, you want to do your funny jokes, but that's your ante into the game. We assume you have that. Right. Ultimately, what we're looking for is a sense of who you are on stage as well. As crazy as it sounds, at the end of the 3 minutes, I should know what your sitcom would be. I should be able to look at you and go, oh, I can say that you're this person. Yeah. I'm not saying that you need to feel like you're limited to just this one particular thing that appears in the 3 minutes, but we want to get a sense of what your voice is, because when we're looking at you in a showcase role, it's where can we use you? Where can we put you? What kind of shows can we put you on? That kind of thing. There's a lot of comics that will do auditions and showcase roles and just do their funniest material, and I leave it and go, hey, those jokes are really funny, but I can't tell you who they were. I don't know who they are. Choosing that one joke as your very first joke, while the turn on the joke is good, you're right, it's a misdirect. The problem with using that as your opening joke is you're diffusing any tension right up at the beginning. Because the very first thing you're telling us is, hey, things are great, things are going good for my friend. We need to know not just who you are, but why are you on the stage? Okay. As weird as this sounds, I know it sounds like a paradox. An audience on a subconscious level never wants to believe that the only reason you're on a stage is to get a laugh. The reason you're up there is because there's something that I need to say. It's something that's keeping me up at 2 o'clock in the morning. This is the stuff that's on my mind. When you get up there and the first thing you're telling us is, hey, everything's going great, life's really good, that's all resolution. There's no conflict to it. Therefore, there's no tension built into it. Worse, the first joke is about your friend. It's not about you. And so because we don't know who you are yet, we have a hard time relating to it as an audience because we don't know why you have a driving need to talk about your friend's problem. We don't know where it's coming from yet. Now, if this joke was in the middle of a set and we'd already gotten to know who you were, that, oh, she's kind of snarky and, sometimes she kind of treats her friends bad, then there's total credibility in this joke. We know where it's coming from. Yeah. If that's, not that I'm saying that's your voice, but if that was the voice that joke was coming from, then it makes total sense why you would talk about that issue on the stage.
What is unique, interesting, strange, different about you?
Oh gosh. I'm not sure. I don't know. I hate that question. I don't mean that in a negative way. I just hate it when people say that. Like, what's something interesting about you? I feel like anything I could say, a million other people could say.
Okay, let me rephrase. What would be a secret or something about yourself that you would not want to tell a room full of people?
So please do it here on
please do
YouTube.
it right now.
Yes.
To the guy who doesn't know my name. I guess, gosh, I really like. Oh, this isn't that. I don't know the. Whatever. I really enjoy Broadway musicals
Okay.
All right.
a lot.
All right.
I also have a podcast about the television show The Bachelorette.
Nice.
Because I really like talking. I'm sort of embarrassed at how much I like talking about gender and dating and social norms. And I just think it's really interesting how in our culture, even though now it's changing, which is good, but I feel like it's really interesting how men and women still feel like they have to play these roles. And that show, which is for a wide audience, which has to play to the lowest common denominator, is about people that can come off very stupid and very masculine or very feminine, and there is no room for being in between, and I think that's the most interesting thing in the world. And I'm kind of embarrassed that I like to talk about it in the terms of that show as an example, because I think people really, I worry that people judge me for using that as like the way in which I talk about it. If that makes sense.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's, I don't know that any of that is interesting enough to...
I completely disagree.
Okay.
With what you were saying right there, it's interesting that here, when you were talking about your podcast, for example, which does raise the question that when you were doing that podcast, do you remember to write down your guests' names?
Yes.
Oh, good. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. Low-hanging
Well,
fruit.
aren't we just wonderful human beings?
When you were talking about your podcast and why you do that podcast,
Yeah.
you instinctively went to the conflict that you see in this situation.
Yeah.
Human beings are drawn to conflict. When you were talking about that, it was so much more gripping for us because you had a reason to talk about it. Now, granted, you haven't made it funny yet. That's okay. That's good. You want to start from that truth. When you're telling me the funny story about your friend, I believe as an audience that the reason you're talking about it is because here's something funny I want to share with you.
Right.
Not here's something that I need to talk about and I'm going to make it funny. I always tell my students in the classes, the most important thing you'll ever learn in a stand-up comedy class is don't write about what's funny, write about what's true. Funny comes out of the truth. When you start with something that's where you're just focused on the turn, you're focused on making it funny first, it tends to be a joke that doesn't have much of a point of view to it. And the problem with a joke that has no point of view is it ends up sounding like a joke that any other stand-up comic could tell. If you're telling a joke that any comic could tell, as an audience member, why am I paying $10 and a 2-drink minimum to hear you say it? It will be harder for you to find your voice in those jokes that don't have a strong point of view to them yet, and that's where the problem lies, is that you're coming in from the turn. Here's the funny thing. Find the conflict within the situation first. Find your point of view on that conflict, then worry about finding the turn on top of that, and it'll start coming through as, here's why I have to talk about it, here's my perspective on this issue. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I didn't
Yes.
want to make sure I wasn't
Yes.
rambling there.
Yeah.
No,
So,
no, it's good.
so yeah, I would love to hear you talk about, doing a podcast and Broadway musicals and your obsession with gender roles and things like that. I think that all is unique to you.
Right.
When you start writing jokes about that, I can instantly go, oh, this is something that keeps her up in the middle of the night. This
Right.
is something that she
Yeah.
needs to talk about.
And I think it also illustrates your intelligence, which you have a vast amount of. And that's one thing I've noticed when I still fall into this trap. I see comedians who are just starting out fall into this, where very often the jokes sound like they're coming out of a character that is not as smart as the person telling the joke. And that you are,
Yeah.
like, I want to hear your opinion on gender role. Like, you seem
Yeah.
like someone who has a well-informed opinion.
I think I do too. Whatever. Yeah, and I think also, now that we're talking about it, as a woman in comedy, it can be very intimidating because you go to open mics and you go to situations like that where men are talking about things that make me feel uncomfortable or make me feel weak or vulnerable. And so it's easier to just play a role of someone that isn't as smart, or pretend like I don't hear a rape joke, or you know what I mean? Because that sometimes is what you need to get through those situations, because a lot of people that do stand-up are not playing to the top of their intelligence, or are doing that as well, or choosing to make moves that are a cheap joke about things that really shouldn't be joked about. Or if they are going to be joked about, should be done in a much smarter way.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's something that, I mean, I can't speak for all women, and I wouldn't want to, but I know that as a woman, sometimes there are certain things that you have to do in a very male-dominated world to protect yourself. And I think that that's something that I know that I personally do as a way to sort of evade a little bit of that, because it's very prevalent, and it always has been, because I've always been in comedy, and so I've always been one of 6
So you're
women.
saying, are you saying that this is a conflict that you feel between you and the other comedians, or a conflict that you feel between you and the audience?
I think both. I think absolutely both. I mean, I know that there are times where, I've heard what people sometimes will say as in an audience when I go on stage because I'm a woman. You know what I mean? I mean, you don't know what I mean.
You're talking to two men here, so our experience will be somewhat limited.
You guys know, right?
I
you guys get it. No, you get it.
I appreciate that I was just called a man. I mean, that's rare for me. So, thank you.
But yeah, so it's something that is very interesting to me, and is something I really like talking about. But it's also, I think to your point, when you talk about something that you really care about, you leave yourself vulnerable, and you open yourself up to who knows what, because who knows what's out there. So I think that might be part of it too.
Which is, it's a difficult thing to do. I think you're right. There is a vulnerability in it, but at the same point, vulnerability is an important part of stand-up
It's
comedy.
necessary. Oh,
It's
absolutely.
absolutely an essential.
Totally
So,
agree. Yes.
and admittedly, it's one of those things that I think you become more open to and more experienced with as you continue on in stand-up comedy. Admittedly, there's certain things that when you're 6 or 7 months in, you're just not ready to talk about yet. So I can understand that.
Yeah.
I also, just because I do the open mics here every night, and I do agree that I see a lot of, especially younger male comedians, going up there doing, talking about their dicks, talking about poopy. And the interesting thing, though, the more I watch, the sense I'm beginning to get is that a lot of the times, I think the only reason they're telling those jokes is because they don't. I don't think they want to be that dumb either, in a weird way, if that makes sense. I think there's some of them that.
I don't think I follow.
What am I trying to say? That just because they're telling the dumb jokes, doesn't mean that they won't appreciate your intelligence.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
I think they're telling the dumb jokes because
That's a good point.
they're afraid to play to the top of their intelligence.
Right.
In a weird way, they might have the same fear that you have. I think there's a doing it to fit in. I've got to be whoever this is the dirtiest.
I got to
one
be
wins.
this douchebag.
Yeah.
But when I've noticed, because I've been forcing myself. 'Cause I get afraid of that too. It's like, well, I want to talk about politics or something really high level.
Yeah.
But I'm in this. The vibe in this bar show right now is a bunch of 20-somethings who are talking about their dicks.
Right.
And I'm forcing myself to talk about the politics stuff.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that every time I've done it, actually they're on board.
Yeah.
And they're interested, and there's a different kind of laugh. It's kind of that laugh from the more informed place, as opposed to the laugh of "oh, penis come."
Well, I think that I think that what you're talking about with so many people in the open mic scene in particular, going to dick jokes and things like that. It's a common issue because I often say that it's young comics that are just starting out. They've been doing it for 6 weeks or whatever. They'll often go to those shock jokes because it's like a toddler. A toddler doesn't know the difference between good attention and bad attention. A toddler only knows attention. Comics know that, hey, if I get up there and I say the F word 1,000 times, I'm going to get a reaction from the audience. It's not necessarily a good reaction or a bad reaction, but I'm going to get a reaction. I think that part of that is tied into the vulnerability issue that we were talking about. Vulnerability is a hard thing as a stand-up comic, and you get stronger with it as you proceed in your career and become more experienced. And when you're new, that and that vulnerability is still so raw and such a scary thing, there's never a moment on stage that we feel more vulnerable than when we're not getting a reaction. And so I think that it's a way to avoid being too vulnerable on stage, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's a judgment in it. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to accept more intellectual comedy at times. It's just it's a defense mechanism to avoid being vulnerable, which sadly prevents you from moving to stronger comedy.
So
Yeah.
my challenge to you would be when you're doing the open mics, that the worse the open mic feels, the more vulnerable and intelligent you should be.
Okay.
Do you accept my challenge?
I mean, sure. That wasn't very enthusiastic. Yes, I will accept your challenge. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Jen, ladies and gentlemen.
Nope.
It's not Jen.
Not at all.
What is it?
This is why we
Hey,
have
you
the
know what it is?
paper. Jessica? Close.
Shorter than
It was sort of Jess?
Jessie.
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 I knew it was a Jess something.
There we go. Ha! Mr. High and Mighty.
I did not print the paper. That is not my job. I am here as a
Jessie,
guest.
Sorry. Jesse, have we met before today?
No.
Okay, then I feel less bad.
Well,
We have met before today?
no.
Oh, I should.
You should still feel equally bad.
Still feel
Feel
bad.
bad. Okay. That's fair. I'll give you that.
Right? Thank you.
We're going to edit all of this out.
No, we're not. All right, and you I have seen before, and I've still forgotten.
Vincent Molina.
There we go. Yes, you're hosting something. You host the mic? Do you host something?
I go to the open mics.
You go to the open mics. Ladies and gentlemen, Vincent Molina.
Woo! Woo! Okay, where do I go? Where do I look? Do we have a light?
You looked, when you have 3 minutes, when the 3 minutes are up, the red light will flash.
Awesome. Awesome, thank you. Okay, great. I just wasted a lot of time there. But thank you.
It's all right, we won't count.
All right. Anyways, my name is Vincent Molina. And if you could tell from my interactions with everybody right now, my command of the room, and just my physical appearance, I'm in fact a nerd. And that's giving myself too much credit because a nerd implies that I'm smart. I'm more of a geek in that I don't know everything about everything, but I do know a lot about a lot. Like, I don't know how magnets work. I don't. But I do know what Bruce Wayne's favorite soup is. Alfred's French onion. It's canon. Look it up. I don't know what a super delegate is. I don't know. But I do know what a super star destroyer is. It's a Karelian class cruiser, and Darth Vader has one. So look that up. And I don't know all the names of our senators and congressmen that we have in office. I should know these names, but I do know the middle name of Daffy Duck. It's Dumas. Daffy Dumas Duck. Scarlet Pumpernickel, directed by Chuck Jones. Watch it. You'll believe me. Anyway, segue. Like I said, I'm a geek, so I'm on geek2geek.com. That's a dating website where people like me can meet people like me. And on my bio, I put that I like Star Wars, Star Trek, The Walking Dead, Doctor Who, all that good stuff. And at 1:35 in the morning, 1:35, they email me, and they tell me that my perfect mate is Tootsie Foot 68, and her profile picture is a pair of her feet. I don't know how the hell that happened. I don't know what the algorithm is. I put that if I went back in time, I'd like to meet Sigmund Freud, kick-ass guy, father of modern psychology. She didn't write anything down. She's just Tootsie Foot 68, and she's just a pair of feet. And then they asked me, well, what TV star would you like to meet? Josh Gates, host of Destination Truth, Expedition Unknown. He goes and finds monsters, gold, all that great stuff. She didn't write anything down. She's just Tootsie Foot 68, and she's just a pair of feet. So we might go out. I'm considering it. We might do a foot race. Maybe play this little piggy and see how weird we can get with it. And this little piggy likes roast beef. And I'm going to stop right there because that just sounds horrifying. But it's come to this because I don't know how to talk to women. I don't know. It's weird. At my office, this cute girl comes in. Nice hair, black hair, blouse, skirt, lipstick, and she's got a piece of paper in her hand. And she looks at me and she goes, "Excuse me, but could you make a Xerox copy of this for me, please?" This is what I said, 100% true. This is what I said to her. Yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I'd be happy to. Yeah. Do you want to go to the bathroom? I mean, do you need to go to the bathroom? I mean, because, there's a key for you to go to the bathroom, and you could go, well, I'm doing the Xerox, so do you want to go to the bathroom? And that's why I'm talking to Tootsie Foot 68, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm doing, so That's it. Thank you.
All right, Vince Molina, you're going to yes, hold the mic and come and sit down, and it is a bit of squish.
Okay.
Very nice, very good. All right, Vincent, how long have you been doing stand-up comedian? How long have you been doing stand-up comedian? That's what I just said.
How long have I been stand-up comedian? I officially started last September, so like we were doing like a good 8 months now.
8 months, okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Say.
How old are you?
Guess.
27.
You buddy?
I'm going to say 23.
29.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Wow. Look young for your age.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
You look, yes, indeed. Okay, good.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, here's the,
Lay it on me.
yeah, no, you've got a strong sense of the writing, because you're doing you have a nice, great comparison thing going in the first joke that you're doing. But the whole way through, this was the thought that was going through my mind, is I want to challenge you on the premise,
Okay.
which is that you're not smart, or that you're not, that you're a geek and that you're a nerd. And the idea is that a nerd is someone who's really, really intelligent, and a geek is someone who just, knows useless stuff. Like on a certain level, I believe you. But then what was weird is that in the next bit, when you're talking about Sigmund Freud, and just the way that you are, like you seem smart to me. Like you don't seem, did you go to college?
Yes, I did.
Well, where'd you go?
Pasadena City College.
Okay, gotcha. And what was your GPA?
GPA, at least 3.5.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're not an idiot. You're a smart guy.
Yeah.
That was my only. Yeah, it's kind of what's the way I want to say it?
Contradictory.
Not that it's contradictory. It's that you're playing. You are describing the cliche of yourself instead of really describing yourself. Maybe that's what it is. That I think you're smarter than what you give yourself credit for in that joke. Cool. So I guess my note is you're good enough, you're smart enough, and people like you. No. So that. But in terms of the construction of the joke was fine. That was the thought that came to my mind. And then what was my other? No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I would argue that I agree with you on that. I think the problem is specificity in your point of view on it. You've got a good complaint there, to some degree. When we talk about a complaint in comedy, it's your topic, your attitude, and your point of view. These are the three elements an audience needs to know. What am I talking about? How do I feel about it? Why do I feel that way? You've got a good topic. You've obviously got a very strong attitude choice that you're embarrassed about this, that this is a problem in your life. But the point of view, you're just saying that I'm not smart. That makes that complaint not particularly credible to the audience, because there's nothing that you're giving us that says you are not smart, that you are dumb. You need to be a little more specific in that point of view. What do you mean by that? Because that's such a general terminology, and when we're going to the basic assumptions of what being not smart is, we're assuming it means that you don't have a 3.5 GPA, that you're a dropout who couldn't make it through fourth grade and doesn't know how to read the street signs or something, and that's clearly not you. So when there's an immediate disconnect right up front, it gets harder for us to be invested in the jokes. We'll laugh at some of the references that you're making, but we don't have a strong tension built up in the front that can be released by the surprise of your punchline, which is what results in the larger laugh. I would actually go back and examine that and try to get a little more specific there. Like I don't think the problem is that you feel that you're not smart. I think the problem is that you feel that perhaps that your intelligence is in the wrong place, or that you possess, that you're incredibly smart about the wrong topics.
Rose O'Donnell this was a throwaway line that she did on her talk show that I still remember to this day. She's making fun of how she memorizes all these facts about movies, and she says, it's like, my brain is like a high-powered computer, but all it does is doodle. It's something more along those lines. I agree, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I actually do a joke in my set that's very similar, where I talk about why men have problems communicating with women, and I say, understand a man's brain is like the internet. It's a powerful informational tool that's pretty much filled up with dumb comments and pictures of boobies.
Yeah.
It's that same kind of idea that you are smart. You have this very powerful tool. I mean, your brain is working at a higher level than a lot of your general populace. You've just got the wrong filters in place. You've filled it up with information that now that you're out in the real world, you've realized has almost no value in most of the situations where you're trying to achieve something.
If you had actually spent as much time studying science as you did studying Marvel Comics, you could actually be Tony Stark instead of just reading about something like that.
So yeah, I think that getting a little more specific about what the problem is. You've got some fun turns there. Don't worry about the funny part yet. Worry about the truth part. Like what is the problem I'm trying to communicate to this audience, and how can I make it very crystal clear to them? Until the audience knows what the real truth is, what the problem is that you need to expound upon, it's hard for them to get invested and really get along with you for the rest of the set.
Yes. And then, so I asked, I'm going to put the same question to you that I put to Matilda over there. What is unique, interesting, strange, different about you? What's your secret? What's the thing that you would not want to tell a room full of people?
What I would not want to tell a room full of people.
Yes.
Jeez Louise. Okay.
The glasses are for show.
No, I'm actually quite blind with that. I can't even see Brittany over there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't-
Keep doing it. It's fun.
Gosh, something that I don't. I guess I kind of tell people, but not a lot of people know about it. Is that I actually can swallow my tongue voluntarily. Yeah, I mean, it's something I sort of tell people.
I know this video is going to go online, but it's not that kind of video.
You can swallow.
I can swallow your tongue.
Oh yeah.
But gosh, no, I mean, it's an interesting question because it's really hard for me to answer because I know there's an answer in there. It just it's hard to like.
What do you do? Where are you working right now?
I'm an assistant for a family attorney who specializes in divorce, child custody, and annulments, all that stuff. It's a law, the branch of law that proves true love does not exist. So.
Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And do you want to be a lawyer? Or are you in the process of being a lawyer?
No, it's just something that that pays the bills and
Pays the bill.
all
Gotcha.
that stuff. Yeah.
And what did you go to school for?
I went to school for television and production. I do have certificates for production and pre-production, and I have done internships in the past. I have done 2, and it was really great. It's just they couldn't pay me for that. So
Right.
Mhm.
Yes.
So-
And now in high school, was it a good experience in general? A positive experience?
yeah,
Or
I
were
mean
you-
I never got wedgies. I never got beaten up. I had friends, and I was friends with mostly everybody. I floated around. From group to group to group, and then, nothing really bad,
Are you with someone? You dating?
No, not at the moment, no.
Okay.
What happened to Tootsie Foot? What happened?
How do you do with, what's your track record been with women?
Virtually. I've had one relationship for almost lasted a year. Yeah. And,
Gotcha.
And it was fun, and we're still friends. It just wasn't gonna happen, I guess.
Mm.
And I felt really bad about that.
Hmm.
But it's cool that we're still friends, and I really like that. Yeah.
Did you end it, or did she end it, or was it mutual?
I want to say mutual.
It sounds better.
I just remember I was the one who said, I don't want to lead you on and hurt you and stuff because you're awesome, and I don't want to do anything bad in the future. So.
But you didn't feel it have a strong enough connection that you wanted to continue the relationship.
Yeah.
And you okay?
Yeah.
And was it by and large an amicable split? Did she understand when?
I'm hoping she did.
Okay.
I don't know if she's gonna listen to this too. So if you're hearing this, I'm sorry I'm putting this online.
Well, unless she's in China, there won't be a problem.
Oh, there you go.
Now, here's a couple of things I want to point out. That awkward, hard thing to talk about is where I think you should be going in stand-up. Specifically because it's awkward and hard to talk about. And right there, that's, we're all, this is the major shit that's affecting you, usually the most interesting jokes come from there. What are the big problems in your life right now? And if it's difficulty with women, I think you started to go there towards the end of the set, but really delving into that, why the difficulty with women, and about what happened in this relationship, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's much easier for an audience to buy into the vulnerability of, hey, I'm having these problems in my love life, and here's something I'm embarrassed about, versus the vulnerability of, I think that I'm stupid when you're clearly not. And so it lends more credibility there, which allows the audience to get invested much earlier with the joke.
The other thing I've noticed too, if I may jump in, is that I've noticed that comedians who are very intelligent tend to kind of live from the neck up, and that actually, and in a weird way, comedians are really intelligent. You won't, I think, because you work too hard at the intellectual part of comedy, and that I would suggest that where you should go is the emotional part, and really, and what do I mean by that? What I mean is to start writing about the really hard shit to write about, and trust that you will find the funny.
Yeah, that just takes back to what I said before. It's what I tell my students in every class. The most important thing you'll ever learn is don't start out writing about what's funny. Write about what's true. The funny will come out of the truth, but you've got to lock down what the complaints are first. If you don't know what those are, it gets very, very hard when you're trying to expand on it and turn it into bits and get an audience to ride with you on a longer set. Find those truths first. Worry about the funny secondary. It'll come. Talking about things like, problems in dating and feeling that you're alone and, worried about, the ex and things like that. That's all great stuff. Crystallize what your complaints are about those first. Then you can go back to them and go, okay, what are the assumptions that we make off of this data, and how do I shatter one of those assumptions when I'm trying to find a punchline? But that's the second step. A lot of comics make the mistake of sitting down and saying, what's something funny I can write about today? You're jumping ahead. You're shooting yourself in the foot because you haven't done the base work first. So yeah, I would definitely go that route. I'd love to hear more about the dating stuff. I was excited to hear you'd mention Geek to Geek because I know the website. I'm a big fan of the website. Right. I've met people on there myself. In fact, 5 years ago, I got messaged by somebody, and today she wears my wedding ring. So yeah, I met my. Thank you for the sound cue, Ed. Yes, I met my wife on Geek to Geek. So it's it's a lesson of. Where 1999 can, help or ruin your life. Be careful where you spend your dollars.
Wow. All right, good to know.
She's not going to watch this. It's fine.
By the way, if I can interject really quick.
Yeah.
From earlier. Cheetah from the Legion of Doom, doesn't she have, claws?
Oh, good call. 20 minutes later.
Very nice. Very nice. Which was a Wonder Woman bad guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right, the main one. Yeah, she did. But were they retractable? Were they retractable?
I don't think they were retractable, but they were definitely claws. They were definitely claws. And you could argue, depending on which uniform we're talking about, some of Catwoman's uniforms did have the fingertip claws as well.
That's true. Okay. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad we got that out.
Yeah. I feel so much better. That was the achievement for the night. I thank you for that.
I one of the Batman animated episodes. I think Batman had claws. Retractable.
Well, there was a version of Batman that had claws. I believe it was on the episode Legends of the Dark Knight, where it was the heavily armored version. But it was a what if style Batman. It wasn't really a canon thing, right, so I wouldn't qualify it.
In World's Finest, that's right. When he's falling on Lex Luthor's plane at the end, and he has to grab on, he has special claws.
Oh yes, I think you're right. Yeah.
That was the good Batman Superman movie.
Aren't you glad you tuned in to learn about comedy?
Well, you want to know what goes on behind the scenes at this particular comedy club? A lot of these kinds of discussions. All right, thank you very much, Vincent Molina.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Really.
Yes. All right, guys. Just to recap, we've got Malik S. this Friday and Saturday. Coming up next week, Drew Lynch, July 7th, 8th, and 9th. This Friday and Saturday in Claremont, we have Jose Barrientos. And coming up a little later in Claremont, Avion Crockett, a last-minute edition. Very, very funny. You should come out and see him. Once again, I would like to say thank you to both of our Punch It Ups, and to the incomparable Ken Pringle, who has been giving us notes and comments on.
Giving them notes, giving you crap. Which is
true.
much more fun.
Yes, and much more appropriate. But yes, anything else? Anything that you need to push?
No, I think we hit it with the Burbank Comedy Festival. That's the big one. The classes, come out, see us, flappersuniversity.com. You can find all the information on the upcoming classes, and look forward to helping out more comedians growing in their careers.
Yes, and I am producing a comedy show tomorrow called Trekkies for Trees.
That's going to be a big one.
Raising money for the rainforest. The tagline is keeping the Earth Class M.
Love it. Love
Get
it.
the joke, come on down. If you don't get the joke, come on down anyway. Have someone explain it to you. It's very clever. All right, guys. That's been another episode of the FlappCast. Thank you very much. Flap out. Excellent.
All right.
Thank you, sir. No problem. Thank you, guys. Sorry once again about the confusion. We thought that there was going to be construction going on in
No,
here.
you're fine. That was super helpful.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hey Josh, do you remember from the Enterprise episode they actually named what Class M was? I don't remember. It was like men shot.
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, but they did actually name it. I don't remember it either.
We don't speak of Enterprise in this club.
Dun dun dun.